Former Trump aide Steve Bannon is in court in Washington. He'll be sentenced for defying a subpoena from the January 6th committee. Now, prosecutors are recommending a 6-month prison sentence and a $200,000 fine. A jury convicted Bannon of 2 counts of contempt of Congress in July. And so we want to get a little more analysis. We want to bring in David Weinstein. He is a partner at the law firm Jones Walker LLP, and he's a former state and federal prosecutor. Thanks for joining us. So,
you're welcome.
Walk us through what we can expect today in court then.
Well, both sides have filed their written pleadings, and the judge has received a pre-sentence investigation report. So the judge knows all that they need to know about Mr. Bannon and about what he's been found guilty of. The government's recommending a 6-month sentence, which is what the guidelines suggest. They're advisory. And the judge can impose a sentence all the way up to the statutory max, which is 12 months. 2 counts of convictions here. Judge can impose a 6-month sentence on each, have them run concurrently, which means together, have them run consecutively, which would put them behind bars for 12 months. Bannon's lawyers have asked for probation. They've said that he has not really defied these subpoenas that were served on him. He relied on advice of counsel. He's taken an appeal. Even if a sentence of incarceration is imposed, the judge should let him stay out pending the appeal. He's made a lot of appellate arguments in his sentencing memorandum. The government, on the other hand, they've pointed out that this goes at the heart of our judicial system. People should honor subpoenas that are lawfully served on them. They have an obligation to respond to them. And that by not sentencing him to time in jail, it sends a bad message to other people who are in a similar position.
And David, you had mentioned that this could go up, the sentencing could go up to 12 months, but the Justice Department recommended a 6-month sentence. How likely do you think the judge is to go along with that? I know it's hard to tell at this point, but where do things turn right now?
I think that the judge is very likely to go along with a 6-month sentence. As I said, this is a serious poke in the eye of the system. If you are lawfully served with a subpoena, you can either contest that, fight it, show how it shouldn't have been served on you, move to quash that subpoena, or you can comply. And when you can comply, you can either answer questions that are asked, you can invoke your right under the Fifth Amendment to remain silent, or you can invoke some other privilege, which is what Bannon attempted to do but was unsuccessful. And then once you've run out of your options, you have to answer to this subpoena. And by simply putting him on probation, slapping his wrist after a jury has found him guilty of 2 counts of contempt, it is really a poke in the eye of the system. So I think that the judge will impose at least a 6-month sentence here.
So I presume that there's going to be an attempt to appeal, I guess. But does this work like every other criminal case where, there are only a handful of reasons, legitimate reasons why you can file an appeal? Is that the case here?
Well, it is the case here, and he's already indicated to the court that he is filing an appeal. He doesn't agree with the jury's verdict. He doesn't agree with some of the legal reasoning that ended up putting him in front of a jury before he went to trial. He doesn't think the sentencing guidelines have been calculated accurately. He doesn't believe he's really looking at a 6-month sentence. So all of that together are going to be his grounds for appeal. The real question is going to be, if the judge imposes a sentence of incarceration, is the judge going to let him stay out of custody and self-surrender while his appeal is pending? Or is the judge going to say, no, your sentence starts now and I'm taking you into custody today?
We just want to point out to people that the video that we were just showing, we're just showing some video there of Steve Bannon. That is from today. I presume him, I don't know if that's him leaving the court or going into the court, but either way, he looks pretty defiant. Yeah, can't hear what he's saying, but he does.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I also want to ask you a little bit about this, David. What sort of precedent does today's sentencing set? What kind of message does it send out to others who might be thinking the same thing?
Well, I think it sends out a message that says we have a system. If you'd like to fight the system, here are the tools that are available. But if you lose, the punishment you receive is going to be swift, and it is going to be imposed upon you. And part of sentencing and part of the reason why judges imposes sentences of incarceration is to send a message to others, to act as a deterrent effect. And the message here will be, if you receive a subpoena, you have to answer that subpoena, or you are going to be punished. So anybody who's out there who's received a subpoena to testify in front of a grand jury, in front of Congress, in front of anyone, The message should be comply with that subpoena. If you want to hire a lawyer and fight it and quash it and say you weren't served or it's not proper, you can do that. But once you've gone through the process and it's found to be a valid subpoena, you need to honor it. Otherwise, our system doesn't work. That's part of the message that's going to be sent out today. And I think it'll accompany a message of imprisonment.
David, that message is quite a powerful message when you consider the final hearing of the January 6th committee. They closed it by saying they were going to issue a subpoena to the former president. I wonder if he'll take the same message as Steve Bannon may be getting.
Well, they're going to try, and he should listen to the message.
David Weinstein, thank you very much for joining us and for your insight this morning.
You're welcome, Anne Marie and Nancy. Have a great day.